Alright guys, welcome. This is Eyes Wide Open, episode 3. We actually lost our episode 2. Audio issues. I'm trying to lean back and talk into that microphone so we'll lose the audio again.
Yeah, so
we had all the UFC picks and everything.
I beat him, for sure.
You know what? I don't even think it's a joke. I think you might have.
Yeah, you got me right on like the John Jones, but that was kind of like, you know.
I think you took Stipe because of the love for Stipe. But I was telling somebody asked me about UFC picks, and I'm like, dude, I'm wrong like 75% of the time.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah.
I don't bet on it for a reason. I'd say I'm quite knowledgeable when it comes to MMA, and still, when you're betting, you're wrong most of the time.
I think when you know a lot about a subject, you tend to be wrong because you're looking at it from a theoretical standpoint.
Yeah.
And there's just too many things
There's
that could happen.
Too many variables
in a fight. I mean, if you're looking at it on paper, certain people should win all the time. But that's not how it happens in a fight. You never know what's going to happen because sometimes people show up and you don't know the guy had a sprained ankle.
They look worse. They're injured. Their mentality. Stuff like that. Those are little details that a lot of people, there's no way to predict it really. If the guy's like switched on, if he slept well, you know, if he has a nice day, he's had a good day, a bad day, you never know. But all of this kind of like it's small, but it has an effect towards the result.
If you're only worried about the X's and the O's, you don't even look at that. You look at, well, this guy's got this boxing, he's got this wrestling, second-degree black belt, he's going to win the fight.
That's why it's a guessing game. It really is. You can have an educated guess, but it is a guessing game. And it's like that for all sports, but especially MMA because it's fighting. You know, it's there's so many variables. It's impossible to really know who's going to win. There's sometimes where it's like 99% chance this guy's going to win, but even then that's uncertain. And
then the guy throws a bomb and catches him.
Yeah.
That happens all the time. I mean, I was pretty close, though, on the Mike Tyson-Jake Paul fight.
Yeah.
I mean, I think did the UFC overshadow that, or did that overshadow the UFC?
The UFC was it was more, it might have sold less, I'm unsure, but,
the thing was, Mike Tyson, Jake Paul was on Netflix.
Yeah.
So it wasn't buys.
And Netflix, it bit off a little bit more than it could chew, for sure, because from what I heard, it was freezing. It was all kinds of stuff,
Too much traffic,
But I want to say one thing about that fight, the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight. I have more respect for Jake Paul after that because he had the opportunity to have a cheaper victory, like knock out Mike Tyson, and he didn't. You know, if you watch that fight, Mike Tyson was his legs weren't there.
But the thing is, too, I told everybody no one's going to knock anybody out because Mike Tyson was training Jake Paul at one point.
Yeah.
He's not going to knock out a guy he's training, and Jake Paul's not going to knock out his coach. It's just not going to happen. It's going to be a glorified sparring match. If Tyson hurts him, Tyson is going to let off the gas, and the same thing if Jake Paul hurt him, he's going to let off the gas.
That did happen.
That's exactly what happened.
Jake hit him with like a left hook, and Mike Tyson didn't see it, and he kind of stumbled. I don't think he was hurt, but I think it's just his legs are they're just not there anymore. He doesn't have the balance. He's having kind of like balance issues, and he's like trying to get his footing, and Jake Paul just kind of like threw out some like really soft left hooks to kind of give him that time to recover.
And Jake Paul's a big young guy. He's got power. He can knock anybody out.
He's roided to the gills, and that's for a combat sport participant. He's roided to the gills.
Yeah. I wonder.
But I mean, so was Tyson.
How was the drug testing on that? Because the thing is, you can't drug test because Tyson's TRT. So.
I don't think there was any drug testing. To my knowledge, I think Mike Tyson was given a pass to like use, like because you said, TRT.
So I think Jake Paul's like, I get.
He's like 230 now.
And what did he last fight? 180 when he fought
something like that. Yeah.
When he fought, who did he fight? Diaz, right?
Yeah.
That was the last.
It's a good fight too. That was actually a good fight. Yeah, I liked it.
A lot of guys, you got the purists out there that are really hating on Jake Paul, but I mean, he can fight. He can. You have to respect him. Look, I mean, okay, Tyron Woodley was a little old.
But he knocked him out bad. Though.
Yeah, these guys are legit though. These guys aren't slouches.
Yeah.
You're not going to catch... If you saw Tyron Woodley in a bar, you're not fighting Tyron Woodley. I mean, same thing with Diaz. These guys are legit guys. And even... Okay, a bar is one thing. Even in the gym. they're still beating up everybody in the gym.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And he actually knocked down Diaz. Like he got a legitimate knockdown with a lead hand, like a left hand. His timing's there. He obviously has the power. There's a couple things that he lacks, but that's because he's somewhat green. You know, he's only been training consistently for 5 years, 6 years.
Jake Paul, 5 years, yeah.
So there's some stuff that he lacks, but that's stuff that you acquire over time. You know, you don't just immediately have that.
And I think it's unfair to really think that I don't think Jake Paul is ever going to be like world champion as a legit boxer, because people don't realize these boxers that are champions, they've been boxing since they were 3-4 years old.
Yeah,
they grew up in the gym.
There are some people that can beat those boxers. Like I think the guy's name was Sergio Ramos, a Hispanic. I could be having the name wrong, but to my memory, he started training in his 20s and he was able to become world champion.
His 20s, wow.
There are
rare,
some, he wasn't like a heavyweight
talents.
or anything either.
Yeah.
He was I believe like a welterweight or something like that. You guys can fact check me on that, but I know that he wasn't a heavyweight. He was lighter than that, and he started training very late. But it's either you have it or you don't. You know, and some people that have it, they're able to bridge gaps because they can piece things together at a good rate.
Was he successful in another sport?
I can't remember. I can't remember. I was reading his Wikipedia a while ago.
Was he successful?
I mean, he's Hispanic.
He shingles or something. He's Hispanic. So
he's Hispanic, so probably he played like soccer. Could do a little bit of contracting work on the side.
Yeah.
You know.
He carries his beeper on the side of his,
of
his what's it called? They have like the khakis with the tucked in shirt. Yeah.
So,
but there's some talent out there. Every now and then you'll find. Like I was going through some YouTube rabbit holes, watching a story about Butterbean back in the days, and he was just some dude. And he entered a tough man contest, and he didn't have the endurance to be a real boxer.
But if he caught you, that's one thing. If he caught you,
days.
I've watched some of those knockouts. Those guys, they turned into bodies when he touched them.
People. And he fought one legit boxer. It was a guy that fought Tyson when Tyson returned.
McNeely.
Huh?
Peter McNeely.
McNeely, yeah.
He knocked him out.
Tyson knocked him out, in the first round, I think? Did Butterbean knock him out also?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, as a legit boxer, the guy was legit.
I like Peter McNeely. I respect him because when he fought Tyson, he just went for it. He just ran straight at him. You could tell he was a little bit awkward in what he was trying to do, but I respect that he had that.
Was when Tyson fought him, was it
after he got out of prison? Yeah.
So he had already lost to Holyfield and everything, right?
I believe he lost to Holyfield after he went to prison, didn't he?
Was after he came out, he lost to him?
I believe so.
You know what?
I think he had one loss, and that was to Buster Douglas. No.
Okay, and then he came out of prison.
I could be wrong.
I'm not sure, but I guess McNeely had the same plan Holyfield had, just didn't implement right. Because Holyfield said you have to bully the bully. The thing is, the bully's not used to getting bullied. You start pressing Tyson, and he doesn't know what to do.
He's like fouling him and stuff like that, and that gets to his mind.
Yeah. I did see something weird, where Tyson was biting his gloves, and someone asked, "Did you see that?"
Yeah, that was weird. But I think he's always kind of done that.
He's got a biting fixation.
Yeah, he's just he's a strange man.
He's a strange man.
But it does remind me. I think that's kind of like a psychological thing. Like some people have like a fixation. Like some people touch their face a lot, or some people like to bite stuff. You know, there's so much range in behaviors and like psychological stuff like that. Some people have fixations like that. I bet you he was biting people as a kid. I'll put money on that.
He was what?
Biting people as a kid.
You're talking about like elementary school, like preschool?
I used to bite.
There's always a biter, and Tyson definitely was a biter.
When I was a kid, and see, this is how I knew. On some level, I knew I was going to fight. Because when I was young, the way I would fight would not be like a kid. Like, I would, like, trip a kid over my leg and, like, kick sand into his eye and then punch him.
Oh, so you would just start crying and just start windmilling
No.
towards him?
It was like some just, like, I was just like...
Yeah. You started doing MMA before MMA was really a thing.
That was, I'm sure that's a jiu-jitsu sweep or something like that. I would grab the shirt.
You probably caught glimpse of the first like UFC 2 or something. And you're like, I'm doing
Yeah, something like that. I remember I I believe it was McGregor versus Diaz or McGregor versus Floyd. And I was a kid. I'm not sure when that was, but I just remember I was relatively young. But I knew what fighting was. And I was like, I want that to be me. I want to be on one of those like taxis. You know how they have like the ad on either on the top or like there's like a sticker or something. I always wanted that to be. I wanted to see myself in one of those from a young age. So here we are. I'm about to embark on a journey to New Mexico.
Yes. So, personal journey. You are heading out to New Mexico. What's in New Mexico?
Jackson Wink.
Jackson Wink.
And mesas. You know, the biome where it's kind of like mountainous. It's like the highlands and stuff.
You know, I've never been to New Mexico. What's in New Mexico?
A lot of sand, heat.
I'm trying to think if I ever drove through New Mexico. Because when I was in the Army, I was in Washington State.
Yeah.
And when I came back after I left the Army, I drove from Washington State all the way back down to Florida. And I don't think I drove through New Mexico. I don't think I've ever been in New Mexico.
It's very arid. I've done a little bit of research. It's an arid climate. It gets like 14 inches of rain a year.
Wow.
And I think Florida gets like 46 on average. You know, that's near a fourth.
It's a big difference. Yeah, it's a big difference. I'm pretty sure they do some irrigation stuff there too.
Yeah.
Though, right? To like get the ground a little bit more fertile.
The thing is, it rains more in the higher altitude kind of areas of New Mexico. Like the lower lands don't rain as much, but higher up it does.
Mm-hmm. So over there at Jackson Wink, you're gonna be living.
Yes.
Living with the fighters there.
In a dorm, yeah.
In a dorm. That's not bad.
Yeah, I get like my own room. I might have a bunkmate or something, but I watched they have a video. They showed a couple of the rooms and stuff. It's just kind of, you just rent a room, $800 a month, and you train there full time. You're like a stable fighter. I
was looking at it though. Did you? Because there's several different things you could sign up for training wise.
Yeah.
Pro, amateur, or like a casual, I guess. I'm not sure what the third one
amateur.
was.
I signed up amateur because I haven't had any actual MMA fights yet.
But amateur is more expensive. They all get the same thing. You should sign up for the cheapest one.
Yeah. The thing is, I do want to go through the amateur circuit to build up like my experience.
Yeah.
And I assume.
So as an amateur, they sign you up for fights, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Okay,
so
after training, they'll be like, or the coach will be like, he's ready to go.
Exactly. So I want to go through the amateur circuit. You know, I want to have probably 10 fights. I'd say 10 fights as an amateur. And then after that, see if I can get a contract to fight as a professional.
Yeah. I imagine New Mexico has a lot of good boxers, though, the Mexicans are.
Oh, for sure. But the thing is, I'm also Hispanic, and I know I can bridge that gap. I will say this. They may be good boxers, but they will not be as well-rounded as I am. All right? They will not be. I'm going to speak that into existence.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, I've done a lot of training, and sometimes there are people that are better than me at one facet, but it's hard to find someone that's better than me at everything, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of why I train the way that I do. You see how I train. I'll train jiu-jitsu for a couple months, and then I'll go into boxing, or I'll do like some wrestling stuff, but I'm constantly trying to make my skills very deep, my skill set very deep, so that, you know, God forbid, I'm fighting someone that's just, he has my number in the striking, I can always resort to another part of my game. And then if that doesn't work, I have another part, and then I can kind of go in between those and mix it up.
Well, I mean, nowadays, if you're going to be MMA, you got to be well-rounded.
Exactly. You know, there's people that are really, I wouldn't say one-dimensional, but they have one part of their game that they're very good at. And I'd say for me, that's my boxing. My boxing is probably my strong suit. You know, punching is something I'm good at, and I have been, you know, it's just, you have certain proclivities. Like, there's certain things that you gravitate towards that you're more proficient in naturally. Yeah. I'd say boxing is, I mean, you see my boxing. I don't have that much experience, but like I said, I can piece together certain things. You see, this is an argument we always get into coaches, and I think Ben Askren was one of the coaches that said that he doesn't believe in talent. He believes in just work to achieve something. But I'm the coach. I believe in talent. Because I've seen it. I've seen guys come out, like you said, the guy who was 20 years old and became a boxer, a professional boxer that was a huge champion, right? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. I've seen guys that've been wrestling since they were 5, and they never achieve anything, and they've been training hard. And you got guys that come out junior year and make it to States. Yeah. I mean, talent is there. Sometimes people just got it. if there's one thing I will say, I am self-motivated. I believe 100% in myself. I know that I can be a champion in whatever I pursue. I know I can be successful in it, and it's because I have faith in my capability, whether it's my mind or my body. I know that I'm able to find.
The thing is too, like with me, I have confidence, but I know what I'm good at also.
Yeah.
Like if somebody said, "Hey, you wouldn't go play basketball," I'd be like, "I'm not doing it."
Yeah, no.
I don't feel I could be good at it.
I used to be pretty good at basketball when I was a kid, but you're playing other kids. This is kind of a funny story. I used to play with this guy named Jensen. It was Jensen and this other kid that had like a basketball cap. I had one shot perfected. It was perfected, all right, where we would check up, and since it was like a one-on-one or a one-on-two game, I would be able to just shoot, and I had that one shot in that one spot perfected. So I would check up, and I would shoot, and instantly I would be make it, take it, right?
Yeah.
And so they would check up, and I would just keep sinking the three from that spot.
Like spamming them.
Exactly. Yeah, so basketball is also one of those things. I'm not that good at that, and the thing is, I know my limitations. It's not delusion. I don't have kind of like, I'm the best at everything. It's not that. But I know my strengths. I know that I can think.
If you're pursuing something, you know you're doing it because not only you like it, but you know you can be successful at it.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I have my self-belief, but it's not delusion
it's not
either.
Delusion, yeah.
Like I don't think I'm going to be in the NBA.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be real with you. But you put me in there with someone my size in a fight. That's one thing I like about fighting. It's a direct competition. There's it's you and someone else. All right, head to head. Who wins that fight?
Yeah.
I like stuff like that. The NBA, I could never be in that because one, I'm not a 6'7" African American male, and then also, it's a team sport.
Well, you do have to explain it because we could put some of this podcast audio only, so we do have to specify. He's not 6'7" and not African American.
Yeah, no, I'm a 5'9.5", maybe a little bit taller, Hispanic male.
Yeah.
And I am rather stocky, but I feel like I grew more horizontally than vertically, unfortunately.
It happens sometimes. It happens with the Hispanic culture.
Yeah, but I think I lucked out because in terms of height, I could have been a lot shorter. My mom's like 5'1", So I'll take what I can get. 5'9.5" isn't bad.
5'1"? Oh man,
She's like 5'1", yeah.
And your dad is what, like 6
foot, yeah.
6 foot. Okay, so it evened you out.
Yeah, I am still growing though, which is kind of strange.
That reminds me, getting back to the fights. Michael Chandler, how could you be so ripped and have that like barrely midsection?
Yeah, he has a strange build.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on Michael Chandler, man. Do not get me started on this guy. Michael Chandler, I'm calling you out, buddy.
The reason we brought it up because Michael Chandler. Listen, Michael Chandler's a good wrestler and everything, but I know he's highly upset that he's getting taken down by
by a jiu-jitsu guy too.
I would be highly upset.
Yeah, and it was at will too. Oliveira would just be like, "All right, I'm taking you down."
Yeah, just took him down, dominated on the ground. I know it's fight of the night. I know people love that fight. I didn't like that fight.
The thing is, the way that Oliveira was taking Chandler down was very smart because Chandler is very good. Like he has like a sprawl, right? He's looking for that sprawl. He'll stand up, create distance. But what Oliveira would do is he would shoot and he would push him to the fence.
Yeah.
Chandler would try to defend, put like the knee, create space.
Yeah.
And when he would do that, Oliveira would sweep his back leg out or like trip him to make him lose balance. And
I think someone was saying in the commentary, he was kind of like wrapping him up. He was just kind of just wearing him.
Yeah. Oliveira is a phenomenal grappler. He looked really good in that fight.
He's a beast. I wouldn't want to fight him.
Yeah, that's a rough fight.
Yeah,
I'm 20 right now. I think I have a good skill set.
How old is he? 30? 31 maybe?
No, he's older. He's like 30...
33-ish?
34, I think.
34, okay. So he's not that young, okay.
Yeah, but 34 is like your physical prime, though.
He looked like he was primed to maybe take that belt again.
I could see it. The thing is...
He took all those shots from Chandler everywhere. Yeah. Left cheek, right cheek, back of the head, everything.
The thing is... All right, I'm going to say this. Chandler is a very dirty fighter, and I'll tell you exactly why. We all saw the back of the head shots, but there's one thing that he does, and he does this consistently. I have no respect for it. He'll punch someone, and as he's bringing his hand back, he kind of like frames out pokes the eye, and then he runs at them and tries to throw a haymaker so the ref doesn't separate. You know, the guy's backing up, and he'll just close the distance and like hit him.
So even if the ref does call it, you just landed a punch anyway.
Yeah, so the ref is not going to call it because you're punching the guy. You know, he doesn't want to involve himself. He doubts whether or not that's what happened in the fifth round.
Yeah, that creates confusion because then they're showing the replay a couple times where somebody will get punched and they think they get poked. This is where you got poked and you got punched.
And in the fifth round, that's exactly what happened. Chandler punched him, pokes him in the eye. Oliveira's backing up, and as he's backing up, Chandler just runs at him, starts hitting him, trying to finish him.
Didn't he poke him in the eye at the very beginning too? Because remember, it was
he was poking him in the eye the entire time. Yeah. It was in the first 30 secomes he basically poked him in the eye. Just dirty fighter.
So we know what happened to John Jones. It was a
better fight than I thought it was going to be.
Better fight. I thought John Jones was going to win. I mean, Stipe's tough as hell. Stipe's tough. When John Jones landed those elbows at the bottom, Stipe never went out, never rolled his eyes back.
He was there the entire time.
Yeah, I was surprised.
He looked a little bored.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? John Jones, you can hear the crack of his elbow.
I was wondering, could he have been blocking some of them?
He was.
And the crack was coming off his kid hitting his arms and stuff.
He blocked some of them, but he was very good defensively on the ground.
There's no way you're taking 10 John Jones elbows to the face.
There was
because he had one little cut.
No, that cut came from after the bell. Jones was hitting him with the elbows. The bell sounds, and he just lands another one, and that's the one that cut him. Just also kind of a dirty fighter, but he's more like he toes the line. Yeah. Chandler's the kind of guy, he'll punch you in the back of the head like 40 times. You know,
Chandler could have won that fight if he didn't punch him in the back of the head. If he would have just went underneath and punched him in the face.
Yeah, but
the back of the head, those little hammer punches don't really hurt people.
They don't do much, but also you got to keep in mind the positioning.
Yeah. Last fight we're going to talk about because we've already hit our 10 minutes. But the last fight, I have to talk about the Bo Nickel fight. What do you think about the Bo Nickel fight?
The thing is, I only saw the last round, but I think I got a good idea of what the fight was from what I heard.
Same thing the whole time.
Because I saw what Bo Nickel was doing. He didn't want it to go to the ground.
Yeah.
He respects Paul Craig's ground game, so he was keeping distance, but he was looking for pretty much the same shot. Because it was there to an extent. It was the left overhand.
He landed at the end a couple times.
Yeah,
those are the best shots in the whole fight, though, in the third round.
The thing is, I think Bo Nickel he's still kind of green. I think he needs to go through like a war. You know, like Hamzat versus Burns.
Where he gets hurt.
Exactly. He needs to kind of develop that finishing instinct or like that like pull it out of the fire.
Well,
you know?
I think he was right with his post-fight interview where people are expecting him to go in there and dominate guys who've been fighting all their life.
Yeah, he's
a
like 6
wrestler,
fights, 7 fights.
Tough. And the thing is too, you face a jiu-jitsu guy and Bo Nickel's what? Really, he's a purple belt. Okay, he's beating black belts, but this guy is a young guy, still competing. High-level black belt. This is not like a black belt from your gym that's 45, 50 years old, doesn't compete anymore. This is the real deal right here. This guy's dangerous.
Yeah.
And it's a fight, too. What if he goes to take the guy down, the guy catches him with a punch, he's a little stunned, and then wraps him up in a triangle? You're done.
Yeah, he played it safe, and I think that was the smartest decision. I will say this. So Bo Nickel is still he's not a finished product. I think we're going to see a much better Bo Nickel. That's
the scary part. He's going to get better and better.
He's going to get better and better. And I tell you this, when he fought Jamie Pickett, and see, I think this is why he didn't take him to the ground, because he knows his limitations. Again, self-belief, but it's not delusion.
Yeah.
Bo Nickel, when he had Jamie Pickett on the ground, he had him in an arm triangle, but he wasn't able to finish for almost an entire minute because he just didn't have the details.
Yeah.
You know, he has kind of the overall, but when it comes to fighting, boxing's like this, those details, like you need to really tighten up those details to be effective. And so I think that's why he didn't take Paul Craig to the ground, because he knew his limitations. I also noticed, you see how big Paul Craig looks? Oh, he's a big guy.
They look like two different weight classes. They look like heavyweight versus a middleweight. Not heavyweight, like light heavyweight versus middleweight.
Paul Craig wasn't even a small light heavyweight. He was never
he's a big dude.
He was never a small light heavyweight. He was able to submit Ankalaev, for example. Ankalaev is a big dude. For him to be able to finish him, that's a strong guy. He has size.
So, Bo Nickel's had to factor all that. If I take this guy down, I'm just rolling it on the ground, he might be stronger than me.
Yeah,
so,
and he's fast too on the ground. All his transitions very, very fast. He's had some inconsistent performances, like he's had some losses.
Yeah.
But the thing is, sometimes he locks in. This is a pop culture reference right now. He understands it. He goes, I understand it now.
Yeah.
And he just locks it in.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, there's some guys that are very, they have a lot of dexterity in their legs and their arms, so they're able to just kind of like instantly put you in a bad position. They're very strong and very fast. So
I actually got, I think I kind of know what you're talking about there, because I've got two examples, one a positive, one a negative for me. The first one was the match I had in ADCC 2 weeks ago. There was a guy that I faced him before in ADCC also, and I beat him by decision because I was more active. So nobody scored any points, but he gave me a decision because I kept on shooting and trying things. This time I beat him 5-0 because I kind of understand what he does and how to neutralize whatever he does. This time I was able to take him down, pass his guard, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it was in there. The second example was a bad one for me. I was kind of I wasn't spying, but I had a competitor. He's a black belt. That was okay. I know where he trains. I'm going to go over there. We're going to roll a little bit just before the competition. So I went there and started rolling with him. First time we rolled, we were kind of stalemate. I took him down, but I wasn't able to do anything. He wasn't able to do anything. So for the first 5 minutes, okay, nothing. Okay, I got him. Second 5 minutes, I had a hard time taking him down. Finally took him down, and he kind of reversed me, ended up like on my back almost. Period was over. Third time, because it was a long training session, third time we faced each other again. This time he caught me in a submission. I'm like, oh man, this is not going the way I want to. He's figuring me out. I'm trying to figure him out. Because he was a black belt. He was a much better jiu-jitsu practitioner. And he was downloading my game. So I was losing in that battle.
Yeah.
So I guess sometimes you kind of figure people out, but sometimes people figure you out. It's
there's
sword.
I think Paul Craig is kind of like that because if you give him a lot of time, or if you give him time to figure out like how you move on the ground, he'll find something. Yeah. And I think that's what happened with Ankalaev. Ankalaev got way too comfortable on the ground with him. Paul Craig, the thing is, he's a professional, right? The guy that you're talking about, he's in the gym, he's a good jiu-jitsu guy, but these are guys that are like fist fighting, you know? So they need to think fast. They need to develop that game plan. They need to like read you as fast as possible. Real time.
So if I'm rolling with Paul Craig, he's not going to take 3 rolls to figure me out. He's going to figure me out in like 3 minutes.
Yeah,
maybe 30 seconds.
Yeah. I mean, maybe if you guys are rolling, he's not going to take it as serious, so it may take him longer. Yeah. But in an actual fight,
like if we're competing and we're in the cage,
it's like it's a race to figure the guy out before he figures you out.
Between a high level guy and like a local guy.
Yeah.
Okay. But let's roll away from the fights for a second and go into a little bit of politics here. There was something we spoke about in that hidden episode that's going to be lost because the audio was bad. There was a FEMA, what was it? What was she? A FEMA what?
Checking it right now.
I believe she was like a supervisor or something. We're checking on that, but for now we'll say supervisor. And she was a FEMA official. A what? A FEMA official, and she was fired, and I guess she's going to be charged because
she should be.
She should be charged. I think she's going to be because they were found guilty of skipping houses that are Trump voters.
Yeah,
they had Trump signs.
It sounds fake. I remember
it sounded fake. We spoke about it, and actually Julian said it was real. I said I don't think it's real. I need more information, but it turns out
he has faith. He has faith in humanity.
Faith in humanity.
That was his mistake.
It just seems so bad to me. It'll be like if somebody told me some guy just went into, I don't know, he just walked up to a security guard and started punching him in the face for no reason. I'd be like, come on, they had to have known each other. They got into a fight before. I mean, maybe if the guy was insane, if you tell me, no, he's a regular guy, he works down at the Publix, I'd be like, come on, give me some more story here.
These are different times.
Yeah.
These are very different times.
People are doing stuff like this now. And I did have a take on it. I had a take on it because I was thinking about, I was watching The View, right? Oh, no, I wasn't watching The View. We're going to cut that out. We'll edit that part out. I wasn't watching The View, I swear.
Someone told him about it.
I saw a video clip of The View. And Sunny Hostin, she was saying that she was in Florida, our home state. She's not talking her home state. She was in Florida with her son, walking around at the beach, and she saw 3 separate people call her the N-word.
Yeah.
And I'm like, listen, this didn't happen. This didn't happen. First of all, lady, she doesn't even look black. She looks Hispanic. She looks like, if you saw her from a distance, she looks like a Puerto Rican. And her son, I don't know, you 3 separate people over there just calling you N-word randomly in a public location at the beach. Didn't happen. So we know she's lying. We know she's lying, right? But here's the thing. I don't think she thinks she's a bad person for lying. I think she thinks that it's like a parent telling a kid, you better clean your room, you better be good, or Santa Claus won't bring you anything for Christmas. Yeah. They're lying, technically, but they don't think it's a bad thing. It's not really a bad thing. You're just trying to gently get this kid to do the right thing by telling him a lie, but it's a good lie. So in their minds, the ends justify the means, because she thinks these people are evil, and they could possibly have done that. They would do that given a chance. So her lie is not really a bad lie to her.
Yeah.
I mean...
And dude, I'll be honest, it probably didn't happen, but there is always that chance that it did happen, you know? Because the way that people are, especially now, they're so radicalized, like on both ends.
Yeah.
There really is a chance, depending on the area, that there's that level of ignorance out there. You wouldn't believe that an actual official of a company would, you know, be that prejudiced to not care for people that voted differently. But
well, here's the thing. I think it only goes one way. I think it only goes the Trump way, because think about it. If Trump is really Hitler, if Trump is really going to do all these bad things,
yeah,
you would be a bad person for not attacking these people that are putting Trump in office. If you work for Jeffrey Dahmer, right? And you're over here
in a perfect world.
I mean, let's say you're the person getting clients for him, right? And I knew Jeffrey Dahmer was a killer, and I see you over there, you know, chatting up some fella, right? To try to take him over to Jeffrey Dahmer, right? If I don't go over there and stop you, however I have to, I'm the bad guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I don't go, I would have to go over there and do something. I'd have to intervene, right?
That's a good metaphor. I'm hearing what you're saying. That does make sense to me.
So if they really believe that Trump is Hitler, they would be remiss. They would be the bad person for not stopping these people.
Yeah, you're right in saying that, but I think there is one thing that you are not seeing, and it's the fact that it is both sides. And I can tell you that in confidence, because logically you're going to be seeing you're just going to see more of like the liberals side of that, you know, because they're a little bit more performative. You know, they're a little bit more outspoken about that. But I've been in all different corners of the internet, all right? And I can tell you with 100% certainty, there are people out there that are essentially the liberal version of conservatives. I don't know if that makes sense, but I feel like you understand what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying.
There are people that are
I would have to think that it's not as big. And here's the thing. I think there's a lot of Smolletts out there. There's a lot of Jesse Smollett incidents out there.
Oh, yeah. That was terrible. That was oh, yeah, I got beat up and he had like the rope around his neck. Like, dude, if someone tried to hang me, okay, I'm not walking somewhere with the rope around my neck. I'm taking that off. First off, I'm not being in that position. Those guys, they cannot see me.
The story didn't make any sense.
Yeah, no, it didn't.
Where he was like, first he's like, he called me Empire, and I was like, what? I want to answer to Empire. And it's like,
no racist is watching Empire, dude.
And not only that, but it's like, people say that all the time. You see a celebrity that you don't really remember their name. Like, if you see, like, I don't know, Dana White, like, hey, UFC. Dana White would be like, I don't know, answer to UFC. He'll be like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
You know? I mean, that's what you're known for.
This is, all right, what you said there, that makes sense, but there is another aspect to that does not make sense. If these are violent racists, okay, these are like basically hicks, you know, the way he described them. These are violent racists looking to hate crime a black person. Do you think they're watching Empire?
Oh, yeah, of course not. I
mean,
nothing he said made any sense.
I didn't even know he was an actor for Empire, and I'm not a violent racist.
I've never seen the show either.
You know, so how would someone looking to hate crime black people watch Empire? Just it doesn't make sense. It doesn't
make any sense. All right, so that's all the old news stuff, except for the View thing. But let's we got some current events. What do we have?
We have...
Let me pull it up. Let's see what we have for the current events here.
AJ Ferrari, more than just a wrestler.
So AJ Ferrari is the first one.
What happened with him?
Let's take a look. It's a YouTube video. Let's see what we got.
I know
here.
he's a wrestler.
So we got AJ Ferrari. Oh, he's gonna start rapping now.
Cut off your.
Oh, he's not a rapper. He's a singer.
You're wrong. He was rapping.
Oh man, yeah, he is rapping. I'm liking it. I gotta say, I am an AJ Ferrari fan, and this right here, I mean, just makes me a bigger fan.
I've seen
On Mr. Fast Twitch is the future of combat sports. I mean, it's good. It's good.
This is better than I thought it was going to be. Unironically, like it's not. I would never listen to this, but it's not. It's not terrible.
Hey, I think AJ Ferrari is. I gotta see more. You're not a big wrestler, but AJ Ferrari was he was an NCAA champion. Ran into some trouble. Listen,
I heard he did some weird stuff.
I heard he did some weird stuff, but I just don't buy some of this stuff. I'm just so. Some girl said that AJ Ferrari. Well, you know what? I'm kind of back and forth on it because. All right, so here's the story. I went down to Texas to watch the Oklahoma State versus Iowa match. And I actually sat at one point with the Oklahoma State side. I'm an Iowa fan, but I sat there because it was close to the ring and we're kind of moving around. And I sat next to AJ Ferrari's cousin. She had a female cousin sitting in front of me and a male cousin sitting next to me. And the guy was super cool. And he was asking me about it. I even told him I'm an Iowa fan, and he was cool with it. The female cousin didn't like, girls are emotional. She was like, she turned around. She was like, "What? You like Iowa? What are you doing here?" Like she was upset. Okay, but she was still cool. But she was just like, get away from here. But the guy was super cool. He even invited me to a party. I had to tell him, "Listen, dude, I'm an old man. I'm going from here to the hotel to go to sleep." But it's cool. And then chit chatting with him. The whole family seemed pretty nice. But they do drink a little bit. They like the alcohol. So maybe Ferrari did some stuff, but. I just feel as
John Jones-esque.
Yeah,
you drink, you start.
For me, I feel as an older guy, I hate when like older guys really dig into younger guys like that.
Yeah.
Ferrari being a young guy, I think I give him a little bit of leeway because we all did some crazy stuff. And to sit there and act all like self-righteous, like, oh, I can't believe this kid is. It's like, dude, were you 22 at one point? You know how it is. Come on.
I don't even remember exactly what it is that he was accused of. I remember it was not good.
All kinds of stuff, yeah.
It's just like, if they're not proven guilty, I'm not the kind of person to just cast my judgment or be like, oh, you're a terrible person. I don't know, And I think that's a big problem with people today. They cast a judgment before knowing, and they're convinced of it. They really do believe it. They weren't there, but they believe. Like
the hate I see guys giving like wrestlers online and stuff where they'll put like nonsense. I'm like, first of all, this kid can beat you up.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you talking so much trash?
Yeah, they would never say something like that in real life.
And then the first part is, it is just a kid. I mean, okay, they're 22 years old, but come on. In today's society, sure. I could say back in World War II, that would be a war hero storming the beaches of Normandy, sure. But we don't live in that time right now. A 22-year-old is a kid. Come on. Especially if I find out that this guy talking trash is like 40 years old, I'm like, dude, what are you doing with your time?
Yeah, you're a loser.
Yeah, you're sitting there bad talking some 22-year-old wrestler. Like, I see people all the time like trashing like Iowa wrestlers and stuff. Like, these are just kids. Like,
relax. Yeah, they're in college, dude.
Yeah,
they're like
college guys trying to. So yeah, I'm a Ferrari fan. I like Ferrari. I like his videos. He's a funny guy. I think he's good for the sport. I think he brings a lot of eyeballs to the sport too. Gable Stevenson's coming back too. So I think
I've seen RB Wise training with Cruz now.
RB Wise gonna be fighting.
That's a good. Those are good training partners right there. Yeah. Dominic Cruz and RBY.
Oh yeah.
I feel like those styles could really like make something.
Yeah, but I think all the stuff AJ Ferrari is doing is good. I mean, if he stays out of trouble, I think it's great. I think he could be champion again. I mean, the guy's impossible to take down. I don't know if anybody can take him down. He doesn't have a high attack rate, but he's good. California man uses bear costume to commit to what? What the hell?
God, I already know this is something crazy.
All right, this is what we got here.
I refuse to pay for YouTube Red. I'm not going to
I'm not doing it either. I'll suffer through the ads. All right, so we got a California man uses bear costume to pull off bizarre insurance fraud plot. Oh dear.
Coming off the sofa to read this.
Sure, make it bigger. So the guy puts on a bear costume, apparently, so... What's he doing?
Committing fraud. That's what the title said.
Oh, does he trash his car? Mm-hmm. He puts on a bear costume to trash his car, scratches up his car to get insurance money. Some people are short-sighted, man. You know what? It might sound like I'm got a lot of hubris here, but I think the majority of people, I've been saying this for a long time, most people can't learn. And here's what I mean by that. You could teach a dog to do stuff, right? But if the dog can't explain what he's doing. You could teach a dog to like fetch me a beer if you wanted to, right? Just say I could teach a person to fetch me a beer. And both of those creatures, the dog and that person, probably couldn't explain to me what they're doing. And I think most people are like that. Most people are just empty vessels, just kind of floating through life, and they don't even know what they're doing. You ever had that person at a job that they'll say something to you or give you an instruction, and you start asking them questions, and they just look at you, and you can just see like they're just loading, like they don't understand what's going on?
Yeah, maybe not the exact, like, I ask them a question, or like they tell me to do something, but I know exactly what you're talking about. It's almost like you see the gears turning, right? Most people have kind of like a computer, you know, it's just kind of like you get a result, but there's people that kind of have to like, you know.
And the gears are turning, but there's no computer attached at the end. It's just, and it's like a broken switch. Like a normal person will sit there and be like, I see what you're saying, and kind of come back with you with something or try to explain it or something. Most people are just, that's what we do. Oh, but why are we doing, didn't this happen? And it's like, that's what we do. It's like they just revert back to the old programming. Like,
you know that I know exactly what you're talking about. Remember, actually, I didn't say this to you, but there's an old lady at my job, and I'm not talking trash about her. You know, she's older, but I feel like her when she's older, it's representative of like certain people our age that think like that. Where it's kind of like they go in circles. You know, they're told something that is contradictory to their understanding, and since they can't learn, they just go in a circle. You know, they don't learn what you're saying. They can't accept it, so they go in a circle. I'm telling her, I'm trying to help her with her phone. I'm saying, all right, you're having an issue because of this. And she was like, I haven't had that issue before. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to show you. So it's like this because of this. And then she tells me again, like, okay, but I've never had this issue before. And it's because she's not learning. It's just kind of like, it's not what she's used to. And so she can't accept like that it is different. And a lot of people are like that. They can't understand. They
don't learn. They just have their...
They can't deviate from what their understanding, you know?
And it's what you're saying is very similar to what I always talk about, where somebody will tell you something, right? And when you ask them to reiterate or something, they don't change what they said. They either say the same exact thing, or they'll take a snippet of what they said and say it to you.
They don't further develop the idea of what they're saying. They don't present it in a better way. They just kind of, they might reword it, but it's the same explanation is what you're saying, right? They're not.
Or they might say, all right, so we'll meet here at 10 o'clock, and we're going to grab the couch, and we're going to walk it out the door. And it'd be like, oh, but 10 o'clock, there's going to be a lot of traffic. How are we going to do that? We're going to meet here at 10 o'clock. It's like, you're just repeating what you said to me. You haven't taken my input and change what you're about to say. You're just repeating pieces of what you just said to me.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying kind of like you ask someone to flesh out, you know, what they're proposing, and they really can't because they don't...
it goes with that also.
Yeah.
They just have a thing they're going to say.
Yeah, all right.
There is no development. And when you ask them questions, they just take what they just said to you, and either they say the entire thing right back to you, or they take a piece of it. And that piece they think is an explanation.
There is one thing that I did want to talk about in terms of, like, you know, recent times. I think part of the reason that we're having so many cultural issues right now in the U.S. is a lack of parenting. I think that is, you know what's criminal? That parenting is not taught in education, like in educational systems. You're not taught how to be a good parent. You either are fortunate enough to have parents teach you what you need to know in terms of raising someone. You piece that together yourself with your own experience, or you never learn and you raise people like yourself, where either they have to learn by themselves or they themselves will be bad parents. I think that, again, that's why we have so many issues with the culture, because people are not maturing. They're infantile in their mind. They're just older, so they're smarter, their brain's more developed, but they're still almost childlike, you know? I've noticed you tell someone, go ahead.
No, develop that idea.
You tell someone something that's contradictory to what they believe in. And someone with an actual developed or matured mind, someone whose parents taught them, you know, sometimes you can learn from people. You really can learn from people. You need to consider other opinions. Some people who were not taught stuff like that, they'll deny it. Like, they'll take it like an insult that you're disagreeing with.
I thought that's where you're going to go, because, that drives me crazy, because you could show somebody something, again, and here's the thing, it makes you look weak when you don't admit it. So the best thing to do, I always said, is to acknowledge what the person say and have a counter argument.
Yeah.
Like, if I said, like, if you told me, I could knock out, I don't know, Joe Schmo. And I said, there's no way you can knock out Joe Schmo. I know Joe Schmo, he's a good boxer. And you pull up a video and it said, here, look.
This is me knocking out Joe Schmo.
See, today's person will be like, come on, that's fake.
Yeah.
But I'll be like, okay, I see you knocking him out right there, but I know that day, and that day he was sick. You know, I would come up with something else. I wouldn't just deny what you're showing me is reality, because obviously you showed me something, so I have to come up with something, and that goes with the learning. I have to come up with something to counteract the evidence you just showed me. But today, the people will be like,
that's fake.
It's fake. It didn't happen.
This is what we were talking about earlier as well. Like, people can't accept things that are outside of their understanding. And I think, again, that's because their parents were not there to teach them. Another thing, with the lack of solid parenting, that, like, it's not really relevant to our culture right now. That's why you're seeing so many issues, like, between the genders. There's, like, a gender war and stuff, because the lines between the sexes is becoming blurred in a sense. Like, men are not really acting like men. Women are not acting like women. All right, when I say women should be submissive, I don't mean that women should just be like, only listen to a man, you know, like they live in the house. It's not like that, but it's just the fact that there is a dynamic between men and women. Men are historically the protectors. Women kind of, they provide, they rear the children, and I understand in today's day and age.
Not historically, biologically.
Biologically, that's just how it is, and people don't want to accept that because they weren't presented with healthy role models that represent those dynamics.
Also, sometimes they weren't presented with any role models. They were raised by the TV, and the TV is all into the woke nonsense.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. And, you know, the thing is, growing up, I didn't have a very traditional, like, family structure, but I did have enough to piece together things in a proper manner, because I had my grandfather, I had my mother, I had family, I had people that I could look up to as proper role models that could teach me, you know, what is right, what it means to be a man, you know. And I think that's the issue right now. There isn't as many proper role models.
When you don't have, like, men, when you don't teach men how to be men, they're going to split into two different directions: hyper feminine and hyper masculine.
Yeah, and both of those are not.
Both of those are bad. The hyper masculine is a guy beating people up on the streets, robbing people.
And that's insecurity too. Yeah, that is insecurity.
Because the thing is, they have to show that they're a man.
It's an overcompensation.
Overcompensation, and the other one just becomes.
Yeah.
And we've all seen those too. And like you said, those are two bad roads to go down.
You know, one of my main goals. All right, I have certain goals in my life. I'm gonna go for it. I will. I give you my word, I will be in the UFC, or at the very least, I will give it my all to be a champion in that sport, in MMA.
At least Fight Time Promotions.
Yeah, something like that. But I will give it my all.
You know, if you accumulate a good record in this local promotions, they'll give you a shot. I mean, there's Dana White Contender Series.
Yeah. My goal is, like I said, I want to get a decent amount of experience in the amateur circuit. Right now, I'll say, dude, for 20, I think I have a damn good skill set. In comparison to other guys my age, I'd say my boxing's a little bit overdeveloped in comparison to others. But again, I'm going to Jackson Wink, and my main thing, I want to be doing a lot of grappling, a lot of wrestling, and again, making it more of a cohesive skill set.
Yeah.
You know, I want it to be a little bit more fluid. But my main goals right now, I want to go for it. I want to go for my dreams. And then I also want to raise good people. I want to be a good father to my children. I will be having children. I want to be a good role model to them, someone that they can look up to. So right now I'm taking a lot of time to just kind of understand. I'm just trying to learn, you know, like when it comes to my morals, my philosophies. I'm trying to develop myself to be a better person so that when I do have children, I'm going to be able to be someone to teach them what it means to be a man, or you know.
I think one good advice I would say is, well, this was in the past where guys had children when they were younger, and I think younger guys are bad as fathers because I think your testosterone level is too high and you tend to be too aggressive.
Yeah.
Couldn't imagine being around a kid when they're like 25 years old. You probably end up assaulting them or something because everything's too pent up.
Your kid bites you.
Probably around 30 would be good because then you kind of mellow out. I think 30 is where your testosterone takes a big dip. You got to wait till that little dip.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I think I want to have kids young. I hear what you're saying, but I have control over myself. That is one thing.
Yeah.
I do have...
Well, it's good to have self-control, too. If you can develop that, I mean, it's...
I had to, dude. There was a time in my life, like in my teens, really, where I was just... I guess it might be testosterone or just whatever it is. I kind of have like a fire, you know what I mean? And if you don't control that, you can burn people around you.
Yeah.
Right, so as I get older, I've prioritized controlling like my emotions, like my anger, or just kind of like my...
Well, as a guy, you have to control your anger.
Exactly.
When you're young, all you got is anger. It's the only emotion you have.
Yeah, like, the thing is, it helps because even now I have that, but I focus it. Like, when I box, I have that, like, I have the grit. I can bite down on my mouthpiece if I need to. I'm not mentally fragile because I know I can grit my teeth and I can get through what I have to. Yeah. And that's me focusing what I had when I was younger, you know? The thing is, there's things that can be seen as weaknesses, but if you control them, if you guide them in a certain manner, they can be strengths. Growing up, I had a lot of anger. On some level, I had that. Like I said, when I was young, I would fight, and it was just, I was like different from the other kids. I thought differently than they did. And as I got older, that was more, it intensified logically. As you get older, you have more stuff that you've seen that kind of, I wouldn't say it makes you bitter, but it makes that fire even more present, you know?
Yeah.
But in my age now, I've been working towards that self-control. So, like I said, in a couple years, I do want to have children, probably like 24, something like that, 25.
Yeah. Well, that
like
note,
10 of them.
we're going to be rolling out, and maybe in January, Skyping Julian in, see how he's doing on Jackson Wink over there.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's Eyes Wide Open. We're out.